Rookie minicamp is days away, and we are here to get you prepared. Let's go.
Brace yourself for the ultimate Carolina Panthers experience. Welcome to Two Growls, One Roar, the podcast that hits harder than a Luke Kuechly tackle. We're diving deep into the heart of Panther Nation, bringing you unrivaled passion, insider takes, and pure gridiron fire. From Wilmington to the cosmos, this is your home for the fiercest football talk east or west of Charlotte.
Welcome into another edition of the Two Growls, One Roar podcast, folks. I'm your host, Carolina Dad, and we are here to get you guys ready for rookie minicamp. Hard to believe that it's already here, but the NFL draft is over. The Kentucky Derby is over. We're heading into May, and so we'll get to see the rookies for a few days, or at least bits and pieces of the rookies, clips, possibly hear from some of the staff. It's usually what happens, and then close out rookie minicamp. Move on to OTAs and then mandatory minicamp. And then before you know it, we'll be heading into the summer. June will be here. We'll have a break for about a month and a half, and then we'll get back into training camp, which as of right now, fans will not be a part of. But we are here today to break down all the rookies that are going to be coming in, primarily the folks we just drafted, as well as the undrafted free agents, and take a look at some of the guys who got invites. So on top of course, this being driven for rookies, you also have a few veterans that are going to be in the mix, and we're going to talk about all of those folks. Now, as I mentioned, important dates, bookmark this. Rookie minicamp is May 9th through the 10th, very short, only 2 days. OTAs are the May 27th through the 28th, the 30th, June 2nd through the 3rd, and then June 5th. And then lastly, mandatory minicamp is June 10th through the 12th. Remember last year, Canales canceled the final day, pushed it off, gave the guys a break. So there is potential for this thing to fluctuate or for a day to change as we get closer. But as of right now, those are your dates. And no better way to start this off, and we're going to go through each of these in just a minute. No better way to start this off than to talk about the excitement for the guys that are coming in here. Of course, at the very top, Tetairoa McMillan, wide receiver, Nick Scourton, edge out of Texas A&M, Princely Umen-Mielen, edge out of Ole Miss, Trevor Etienne, Lathan Ransom, Cam Jackson, Mitchell Evans, and Jimmy Horn Jr. But we know the spotlight itself, at least for right now, is primarily going to be on Tetairoa McMillan. Now, what we don't know is how is he really going to look? How much are we going to get to see of him? What are the highlights going to look like? You know, the Panthers social team is absolutely going to take advantage of this, getting this content out there for folks like us to consume. When we talk about Tetairoa McMillan, T-Mac, as some folks like to say, a lot of us think about what he can bring to the Carolina Panthers. His presence to the receiver room, standing 6'4", weighing almost 220 pounds, possessing an elite catch radius, ball skills, and of course his tape with examples of continuing to win contested catches. And remember, he led the NCAA in contested catches over the past 2 seasons per PFF. His frame, length, and strong hands reflected in his low drop rate help him dominate defenders at the catch point. Despite his size, he exhibits raw movement skills and body control, allowing him to adjust effortlessly to off-target throws. We know he set a record at Arizona with 3,423 receiving yards and a single game record with 304 yards. This dude has it, folks. Adding some intrigue into the arrival of T-Mac is the reported connection that exists between him and quarterback Bryce Young. Now, is it truly a big connection? No, but at least for the day that we saw, and we're going to get to see a lot of that. We won't get to see it in minicamp, but we know as we get into OTAs, mandatory minicamp, down the road, we'll get to see what this looks like. McMillan profiles, in our opinion, as a day one starter at the X position. And Canales has emphasized that his role has to be earned. So he's not just going to step in and have it. Rookie minicamp is going to offer a first glimpse for how he can carry over from what he did in the college game into the NFL. When we think about the evaluation points, and again, this is a very limited amount of scope, but how he manages with his releases, press coverages, some of the things that he didn't do as well in the college game, getting to see him do it against NFL talent. And at least right now, in this small group of individuals with rookies, undrafted free agents that have been invited in, a lot of those one-on-one drills, we know we're not going to see any contacts or anything like that, but just seeing what he can do. And like I said, I think there's a chance folks are going to come out of this seeing some highlights from Tetairoa McMillan. Hopefully we don't see like we did last year with Xavier Legette. And I don't even remember, it was Plummer was one of the quarterbacks, but the rookie quarterbacks that throw in these things, not the greatest. And so we saw some off-timing throws to Xavier Legette. I don't know how many people remember that, but I do. And it was a hot mess. It absolutely was. Now we talk about the new shiny toy weapon that's going to be there on the offensive side of the ball. We have to spend some time talking about the defense as we move down the draft board. And really we could likely bounce around between Scourton as well as McMillan, but I think we can spend a little time on both of these guys talking about the impact that they may bring to this team this year. We know the Panthers defense struggled mightily in 2024. I was looking back at, and I'm going to do an episode on this, but I was looking back last night at the number of snaps that the defense took, the number of players, the starting rotation. It's wild. Like over 46 players started on defense. Think about that. Think about, you're like we said, you're 3 deep in some positions, maybe even 4 deep for some of these guys, and guys that likely are not even going to sniff the roster in the NFL this season. That's just where it was. So Dan Morgan this offseason explicitly stated the need to upgrade on defense, primarily on the front 7. His draft strategy reflected that, although some would have liked an edge earlier in the first round. He went ahead in second and third round and got 2 guys. Of course, with Scourton at pick 51 and Princely McMillan at 77. So when we talk about Nick Scourton profiles as the power, more of the power side of the things, impressive size, 6'4". We know he's dropped some weight down into 257. He's got length, the ability to generate significant force with his speed, offers disruptive potential against both the run and pass. And then scouting reports highlight his ability to hold ground and run defense. We need that and relentless motor. Some suggest his pass rush needs some refinement. Others say he sometimes relies too heavily on the power and needs to develop more finesse moves. Either way, when we start talking about depth and pieces, I'm curious to see how both of these guys are going to play in to the starting lineup. Is there potential for one of these rookies to be a starter? I think so. I don't know which one. I mean, you do lean towards Scourton here, but it might see Princely McMillan. I don't know how many people have been following him on social media, but this dude brings it. He's got a little bit of a chip on his shoulder. So McMillan represents the athletic, flexible rusher. He has standout traits that include his length, explosive first step, his acceleration, his bend around the corner is very effective, flashes high-end pass rush upside, particularly with his spin move, concern center around his strength, his play against the run, and a more diverse pass rush repertoire. But I think he's going to be fine. I think when we think about positioning these guys in, he may be your third down guy. You get him in on third down, give him a chance to rush, get to the quarterback, and key passing situations. Initially, both Scourton and McMillan are projected to be rotational pieces as it is right now, have the ability to learn by quite a few veterans, DJ Wonham, Jadeveon Clowney. And I think Minicamp is going to give us the first opportunity to see, like, how are these guys going to look? How can Ejiro Evero use them? Again, I know it's very limited, but it's an exciting time. Drafting 2 players with different strengths at the edge position helps the Panthers significantly. So this versatility, in my opinion, is going to allow Ejiro Evero to deploy them situationally, like we said, based on the opponent, the down and distance, specific offensive matchups, making the pass rush less predictable, and not having to rely on a single archetype player. Furthermore, scouting has also mentioned that both players need a little refinement With technique, they're going to need some time to get up to speed. No better way to get that started than right here at rookie minicamp. Now we're going to bounce back into the offense. I'm going to try to go through the offense, guys. I know I'm going to have to skip over Cam Jackson and Lathan Ransom, but we'll round out what we expect to see out of some of the offensive guys. We'll move on to Trevor Etienne. Again, we've already done profiles on these guys. If you missed the post NFL draft breakdown, but this is more of a high speed. Let's get you caught up if you've missed anything. So Trevor Etienne, which is the younger brother, of course, of Travis Etienne, he arrives as a 4th-round pick, known for his explosive speed, 4.42 40, sharp cuts, elusiveness, and his ability as a pass catcher out of the backfield. We know that Chuba Hubbard is going to be utilized the most with Rico Dowdle. Then really the conversation is going to turn to Trevor Etienne, possibly in the kick return game, battling with Raheem Blackshear, and again, battling for that 3rd spot in the lineup. I'm excited to see what he can do. And this has just been the Dave Canales model, something that he carried over with him from the Seattle Seahawks days of drafting a running back and drafting one early. So not waiting around getting into what they have. Like we said, we're going to jump in and now talk about Mitchell Evans, who's another guy that I think has a chance to compete. Now, I don't know if he's going to overtake Tommy Tremble or Jatavian Sanders as a starter. But there are quite a few folks on there that have a pretty good belief that he's got the skill set. He continues that pipeline of Notre Dame tight ends that have made it to the NFL, selected in round 5. He is more of a traditional tight end. He's got more pass blocking ability than Jatavian Sanders, and probably a little better pass catching ability than Tommy Tremble. He's 6'5", 258 pounds, more of your inline tight end, reliable hands, concentration in traffic, really good at blocking, like we said, and I think he's going to be a big asset in the run game. His selection complements the pass catching of Sanders, like we said, giving us a versatile offense, which I really like. He is recovering. It did have an ACL tear in 2023, but I think he's going to be fine. He played the full season last year in 2024. I can't wait to get him in. He seems like your 3 tight ends. I don't know what Colin Granger, the Coastal kid, is also going to be in the mix as well. And the last one on the offensive side of the ball, and we'll go back to defense, we have none other than Jimmy Horn Jr. So a 6th-round selection. I like the Panthers trading up to be able to get him. Horn is also another speedy guy, 4.46 40. He's production as a kick returner, can also return punts. He is a little bit undersized, 5'8", 5'9", but he does have explosiveness. He will likely be utilized in gadget plays. And I do think his path to making the 53-man roster is going to be tied to the return duties, because we really don't have a true punt returner on the team. So I think that's where he's going to fit. And then, of course, like we said, getting in on offense, it's going to be a very crowded wide receiver room. So maybe not sniffing the field just yet when it comes to the receiver position, but working his way back. All right, let's go back to defense and close out the draft class, and then we'll talk about your undrafted free agents. So fortifying the trenches in the secondary, so we handle edge. We also bring in some depth on the defensive line with Cam Jackson. And wait a second, guys, I jumped ahead because we need to talk about Lathan Ransom. That's what we get. Fun times. So Lathan Ransom, 4th-round selection, safety out of Ohio State, injects needed physicality, run support prowess in the safety group. He's known as hard hitting. He is a downhill player, really good at the line of scrimmage, getting into the run, had about 9 tackles for loss last year. Very reliable. He's played in various roles, including the nickel. And I think that versatility, even playing up top as a free safety, gives him a chance to get on the field earlier. He should be a strong asset for Ejiro Evero in this defense, who likes to utilize safeties aggressively in run fits and within the zone. Ransom was targeted not just for depth, but a specific scheme, increasing the chance of earning snaps between him and Damani Richardson. I think those are the two guys competing for the starting free safety. I don't think Nick Scott's in play just yet. So it's nice. Very nice addition for the Panthers. Now we will get into our man Cam Jackson as we round out the draft class here, and then we'll talk about some free agents, undrafted free agents. So Cam Jackson selected in the 5th round, defensive tackle. He is monster, physically imposing, 6'6", 330 pounds, 34-inch arms. He is a massive interior defensive lineman. We are already pairing him with the free agent additions of Tershawn Wharton, Bobby Brown III. Panthers looking to improve defense. I think you have him now competing with Shia Tuttle as your backup nose tackle. It just makes sense. And I know Bobby Brown moved around a little bit when you look at his snap and production count, moving outside a little bit, some pass rush attempts. But I really like Cam Jackson's size. It's not as big as that one guy out of Florida that's 400 pounds that the Buccaneers picked up, which I don't know if he's going to make it. But Panthers need any and all help. They need big bodies in this 3-4 scheme to help stop the run. A big focal point. So I like that. I like that a lot. Now, let's jump into some undrafted free agent talk. We got a few things to cover with you guys. You can see here the list of undrafted free agents. We're also going to, which I don't have on a screen for you, the list of rookie minicamp invites. Now, one thing I wanted to highlight, and I don't know, I may have done this out of order. We're going to try to bounce around here. That's not it. We may have it. Here we go. This is part of the production. I blame my production staff. I blame me. So your undrafted free agents. So as of right now, we're going to compare the guys that are being reported by SpoTrack as having signed. Now, Mapalo Mwansana is actually through the international pathway, so he's not one of these undrafted free agent rookies, but he's on the list here. But we're going to look at the guys that are officially reported, not by Panthers.com just yet, but guys that are at least through NFL SpoTrack. And then we'll look at the full list, and then we'll look at the invites as well. But Steven Lozoya, Jatavius Broughton, Corey Thornton, Tuasavi Noroma, Ethan Garbers. He's going to be your rookie quarterback for rookie minicamp, Mike Tarkin, and Travion Thomas. So those are your guys. Now, let's look at the full list, talk through some notable names on here. So Ethan Garbers, like we said, quarterback out of UCLA. He's going to be your fourth arm that we carry. You know, most teams like to carry 4 quarterbacks through camp into the fall. K'Ron Lynch Adams is a running back out of Michigan State. Jacoby George, wide receiver out of Miami. Again, we talk about a crowded wide receiver room. He's another. He received reportedly $215,000 guaranteed, which is top end for undrafted free agents, kind of in that Jalen Coker territory. That should tell you how they feel about him. Kobe Hudson, wide receiver out of UCF, another name that some folks have bought into. Of course, the fan favorite, Muhsin Muhammad III, son of course, Muhsin Muhammad, also goes by Moose. I'm excited to see him. He did not have a lot of production at Texas A&M, but his dad played in the NFL. You have the ties to the Carolina Panthers, so there's always a chance, and I think he will be prepared. It may be a long shot. He may be a practice squad player. Corey Thornton, cornerback, played at Louisville and UCF. I'm excited for the cornerback depth that they're bringing in. Just taking a look. Bryce Pierre, a tight end out of UCLA. Luke Kandra, offensive line. Stephen Lozoya III out of Vanderbilt. Mike Tarkin, offensive tackle out of Oklahoma. Jared Harrison Hunt. Bam Martin Scott, linebacker out of South Carolina. Got to get those Gamecocks in. We talked about the international player pathway with Mapalo Mwansana. Tuasavi Nomoro, linebacker out of Fresno State. Mike Reed, cornerback. Isaac Guilford, safety. Jack Henderson, safety. Travion Thomas, safety. And Ryan Fitzgerald is your kicker. That's your undrafted free agent class. I think it makes sense at least from our standpoint, that likely notable names in that list as we go back through. Ryan Fitzgerald, the kicking competition. So to give you a little more background on him, he had a perfect season last year, 13-13, had a 59-yarder. Dude hit from long. Shaky in his first few years in college, but kind of bounced out. And of course, like we said, with Jacoby George, throughout his 2 seasons at Miami, or as far as what he played there, 110 catches, 1,600 yards, 16 touchdowns in his final 2 seasons. So I think there is potential for him. It's nice. Now, not on the list as we pull this up are your other invites. So a few other invitations went out. These are kind of tryout players that are working. Possibility that you bring one of these in. Penny Boone, who's a running back out of UCF, highly ranked undrafted free agent. Invited as an invitee. Perry Carter, a wide receiver out of Jacksonville State. He was All-Conference USA. Has some kick return ability. Savon Rea, wide receiver out of Lamar. This name should be familiar. And I'm going to Osita Ekwonu. Yes, the brother of offensive tackle Iggy Ekwonu, coming out of Charlotte. Played out Charlotte for the 49ers, getting an invite in. Sylvain Jan Dijon, edge out of Georgia Tech. Jaheim Thomas, linebacker, and Irkefi Owa, defensive back out of Monmouth. Now, to get all of this, I would expect we're going to see some changes for some of these guys to be official within like the next week. We'll see the Panthers start to sign some guys. We'll see the Panthers start to waive. That's just how it goes, is you try to balance this out. But we'll be there as best we can. I won't physically be there, but we will be in tune with everything that's happening through rookie minicamp, getting things, under control, figuring out our way too early 53-man roster projection, hearing what's happening on the ground, how are guys looking. Of course, getting more excited about OTAs and mandatory minicamp, which will be coming up soon. So anyways, that is your way too early look at the rookie minicamp. As always, this is Carolina Dad. Y'all have a good one.